Schweizer.
All right, so we're going to go straight into our updates from elected officials. Still waiting on DOT. Our office of Councilmember Richie Torres, Israel. All updates, if you could just come up here on the mic. We have a mobile mic for people who have questions. I'll be going around with the mobile mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Israel. I'm here from the office of Councilmember Richie Torres. Just a few quick things. We recently had an immigration fair with CUNY Citizenship Now, where we helped about 100 people fill out their citizenship applications. If you guys know anyone who needs any immigration assistance, we still have the services in our office about 8 times a month. We make appointments with an immigration lawyer, so you can call our office and schedule an appointment with us then. Richie recently passed a bill that would require the Campaign Finance Board to send along every 4 years a history of registered voters, history in their participation in local, state, and federal elections. So this is meant to improve, voter participation. And I know that you guys are all involved and you vote, but it will help, the other residents of the Bronx and New York City be reminded of that. We were expecting DOT to be here and provide some updates, but up to now we have received word from DOT that Waring and Bronx, and that the stop sign we requested on Waring and Bronx Park East won't be completed until June. This is because they're expecting the warmer days to create more accurate results of the actual amount of foot traffic that's received until then. And we don't have an update yet on the Waring and Barker request, but we're working on it and we'll provide it as soon as they do. And hopefully DOT comes out tonight. As you know, our office is still open for any housing, family law, or other services you may need. And we're always available at 718-842-8100. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have questions for the councilman's office?
Regarding traffic control devices.
1 second.
Regarding traffic control devices, are there any standards for determining whether or not a particular type of traffic control device should be placed at a particular intersection?
Right. So DOT conducts studies that usually span several weeks. It can take a few months, where they analyze the foot traffic, the car traffic, the amount of times that the intersection's used. So that's why although the study that we requested earlier at Bronx Park East and Waring failed, they're trying to find a more accurate depiction of how many amount of people actually, cross that street every day, and that's why they're waiting for the warmer months. So it really depends on what they find from their studies, which may not always be accurate in the winter months.
Although I'm against having a stop sign in Waring or Bronx Park East, the stop sign that's needed is Barker in Bronx Park East by the school. So if they wait until June, are they going to wait until Barker and Waring? Sorry, but if they wait until June, are they going to do it while the school is still in session so they can see how many kids cross there?
It's not that they're waiting until June. It's just that we haven't received an update from them yet. Romina's working on the case, and we're just waiting on a response from DOT, which was, they were supposed to provide that tonight as they came out.
Yeah, wait, here.
Okay. Thank you, Israel.
Oh. What's that?
Any other elected officials here? Kenny, representing Senator Jamal Bailey.
Hello, hello. So, on behalf of Senator Jamal Bailey, wanted to thank all those who participated at the bus ride to Albany for the D4J, Discovery for Justice Lobby Day. So raise your hand if you went. All right, Christina, Francis, and everybody, and Frank. So we're continuing to endeavor that. Senator Jamal Bailey, in collaboration with Butler Memorial United Methodist Church, activists, police, and solidarity for loving outspoken communities, will be hosting a community panel discussion focusing on bridging the gap between people of color and the police. Thursday, June the 1st, 2017, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Albert Tuitt Educational Campus, located at 921 East 228th Street in Paulding. There's going to be followed by a 3-series workshop on Saturday, June the 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's Thursday, June the 1st, 2017, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then the follow-up breakout session Saturday, June the 3rd, 2017, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's very important that in these days where we're trying to foster amity with communications between our police and people in the community, we can do that. So I see our illustrious Bronx Commissioner of Department of Transportation is here. So once again, Director Schwarzer.
Just make sure there's no other elected officials or representatives in the room. Okay, so we're going to go right into our guest from DOT. As many of you know, Connie Moran, who was our previous Bronx Commissioner, retired at the end of last year. My personal opinion, she did a lot for this neighborhood. She was always very accessible in terms of communication and our request for pedestrian safety devices. One example is at Boston Road and Mason Avenue, Nelson Gonzalez building. She had 3 huge concrete boulders placed at the corner of, which is Boston Road and Kruger, which prevents the cars from going over what is a sidewalk, but what seemed to be a driveway, and children were almost getting hit there. So that's it's something different. Besides the point, she was very accessible. We had a lot of speed bumps, stop signs, a lot of pedestrian safety devices because of her. Our new commissioner, Navarro Lopez, won't take up too much more of his time. So I would just like to introduce the new Bronx Commissioner of NYC DOT, Navarro Lopez.
Hi, Raphael. Thank you very much, and good evening, everybody. As I was introduced, my name is Navarro Lopez. As of January, I am now I've been the Bronx Borough Commissioner for the Department of Transportation, and before then, I'd worked previously as the Deputy Borough Commissioner. And some of you may remember me from my prior tenure as the Bronx Director for the Mayor's Community Affairs Unit in the Borough Administration. So I just wanted to, I'm here more to sort of talk to you guys and hear your questions and concerns. I do want to let you know that we presented to Community Board 11 back in April a safety project on Boston Road. We plan on implementing a bunch of improvements from Pelham Parkway North up to
Bronx Park East, yeah.
Ladies in the back, if we could please keep our voices down.
And then we're currently conducting a further study that will take us all the way up to Allen Avenue on Boston Road. The safety project, if you want, it's on our it's available on our website. You can go to nyc.gov/DOT. I'm just going to read some of the improvements that we plan on implementing on Boston Road. Our study, we're going to install a couple of new traffic signals, one at Boston Road and Astor Avenue, and also another one at Boston Road and White Plains Road. We're going to install 3 new crosswalks across Boston Road at Astor Avenue and White Plains Road. We're also going to make a left turn lane with an exclusive left turn arrow on Boston Road southbound turning onto Thwaites Place. We are also going to construct a neck down on White Plains Road and Boston Road to shorten the crossing distance there.
A what?
A neck down. We're going to extend the sidewalk to shorten the crossing distance at White Plains Road and Boston Road.
What White Plains Road and Boston Road, is that 2228 White Plains Road? Because I'm trying to figure out where that exactly that is.
Well, I brought the presentation with me, and I can sort of, I wanted to bring a projector with me to sort of go over the changes and details, but I have the presentation with me, and if anyone's curious, I can walk them through the changes, and also, like I said, it's available on our website. We're also extending the concrete triangle that's on Boston Road at Thwaites Place and White Plains Road. And we are relocating the Westchester B-Line bus stop at Boston Road at Thwaites Place to the far side intersection.
Where is it going? Where is it going?
To the far side intersection.
Under the L.
Under the L. Right.
The 60?
Hold on, questions after he's done.
No, the 60, he said.
So, as I said, I have the presentation with me with the diagrams, and I can easily walk you through exactly where these changes are happening. and what we plan on doing. So
before we get into questions, I have a couple of things that obviously are going to be asked, but I reached out to people what questions that they had. So, Waring and Bronx Park East, what is the status of that? Yes.
What's that noise?
So we're still looking at it. We hope to be done by summertime, but I don't have usually we like taking about 6 months to conduct a traffic study for a traffic signal, going over counts, going over crash data over the last couple of years, and we should have our results, I think, by the beginning of the summer.
Please put all phones on vibrate. So, Waring and Bronx Park East, is there any part of DOT law that has, when it's in front of a playground or a park, there's no
No, a traffic signal has to do with sort of federal guidelines that we get from the federal government. Actually, if you go on the US DOT website, you can read the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That sets the guidelines for all installations of crosswalk markings, traffic signs, traffic signals, stop signs, yield signs. So whenever we conduct a study, whenever our engineers conduct a study for a traffic signal, we go by those guidelines. And those guidelines are not so much about location, but they're about traffic volume and really about preventing conflict. We install traffic signals or stop signs whenever you have a lot of conflicting traffic at an intersection.
So, with Waring Bronx Park East, let's say a stop sign and a traffic light is denied again. Now, the intersection is 1 block from a school. Would it be applicable for a school crosswalk?
We have something that's called an enhanced crossing, which we sort of do markings on the ground for crosswalks, but we only do that if a signal study has been denied.
Right.
So if the signal study is denied, we would then look at other tools that we could do.
Okay, and with the Boston Road Astor Avenue, I received the verification, whatever, correspondence about a year ago. Do you have an update on when the actual crossing will be implemented?
Well, our marking season is now, so we should be able to implement that, I think, this season.
With the traffic light?
Yes.
Okay. Part
of the reason why I think it got held up was we wanted to see the results of the signal. So now that we're putting the signal in, or if we put the signal in, we can do that.
Okay. And I emailed you a list of crosswalks that need refurbishing. If anyone has any intersections, any street markings, and any blocks in this neighborhood that need repainting, please let me know either now or after the meeting, and I'll include those with this list. I actually made 301 requests last night for all these intersections, so 3011 would help. Finally, I just wanted to thank Navarro. Ever since, I'd say, pretty much this year, I really haven't had to request any crosswalk markings. The DOT has been doing a much better job at painting the crosswalks. I'm not a driver, but I am a pedestrian, and I do sit front seat when people drive, and it makes a big difference at night when there's a crosswalk there and a traffic light, and you can see where you're supposed to stop. And the crosswalk markings actually reflect off of people, so it actually makes people more visible. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm just going to go into question and answer. As always, please be polite and brief, because we do have to get into our next guest. But I'm just going to go around the room. I don't know what order it is, but Mark.
Well, for a change, I'll be brief.
Okay, Mark, we're using the microphone.
Yeah, okay. Well, with my big mouth, I don't need a mic, but okay. I remember you from the 10-year thing when you were doing that. That's how long I've been here, 30 years. And my question is, number one, how many people you supervise? Number two, who determines how long a study takes? Number three, could you speed up the study so it won't take 6 to 9 months?
So in the Bronx office, we have several different units: the Borough Commissioner's office, our roadway unit, our borough engineer, our highway inspection unit. We also have, and then myself, of course. So I work with about probably 30, 40 folks. Some who I supervise, some who I don't. But my office is often what sets the priorities for the borough. So even though I don't necessarily supervise the borough engineer or the director of roadways or the director of highway inspection, I go to them and I say, I need this pothole filled, I need this sign restored, I need this sidewalk inspected. The studies are determined by the engineers. They want 6 months in part because of the volume of studies we get citywide, and also because sometimes you want to go multiple times to an intersection to get correct traffic counts.
Okay, next question is from our board member, Grace Lavaglio.
Oh. Hi, good evening. A couple of questions. The light that they're going to put on Waring and Bronx Park East?
It hasn't been approved.
Well, if that's approved, are you going to take down then the light that's on Mace and Bronx Park East? And if not, are these lights going to be in tandem or are they going to be staggered?
So we're not planning on removing any traffic signal. If the signal is improved, then we would of course look at our signal timing unit to see what needs to be done to have it properly coordinated.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Francine Rue.
Hi there. My question is, where is the Bronx 11 bus going downtown being moved to?
Well, no, the stop I referred to was the B line.
The B line. The 6062.
Right, we're moving it to the far side.
Well, it's right.
We're moving it to the far side of the intersection. So usually
It's on the outside.
So that means that the bus
Yeah,
is
move it.
stopping past the intersection, not before the intersection.
So that means you know where it is right now by Gonzo's. So when you cross the street heading towards Seatown Food Choice, it's going to be at that crossing.
There is room where it's stopping now.
All right, let's go. Marcia, let's go in order. Next question. This is your first meeting. Thank you for coming. What's your name?
Southbound stop.
One question at a time. If you don't have the mic, you're not asking the question.
Hello, yeah, this is my first time here, but I'm trying to come over here for a long time. What happened is on Holland Avenue, right? Going all the way down. It's a very, very serious matter because the guys when they're coming over here, they speed down the block. And they're having traffic light right there, and they speed down the block at 40 miles per hour. I almost get hit twice. I have 2 kids. They almost get hit twice. It's very, 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 very serious. And when they go down the block, they speed on 40 miles per hour, and the red light is right, and they stop right there. So why do they speed?
Holland and where? Holland between what and what?
Between Boston and Allerton Avenue. It's very serious. Right, Holland here.
So
and Allerton Avenue, I almost get hit twice. And when I told him about it, the guy actually reversed back and argued with me. I have my home. I don't want to argue. I say, you know what, go ahead first. I'm sorry for telling you not to speed. But I have kids have
don't
my
back
kids crossing
down.
the street. And the
It's your
school is
first
right here,
mistake.
40 miles per hour just coming down. And the guys in them is, I tell the guy, slow down, man. He reversed back. He mashed the brakes and he make a line in the street. He mashed the brakes and come back and approach me like he want to do me something. You want to like harm me. And I'm living in this block over 5 years. My wife has lived 16 years in this block.
So we've requested a lot of speed bumps through our previous commissioner. So is that something that
Yes.
is a speed bump something that would?
Well, we'll slow them down.
Not
So
a-
Navarro, would our group be able to request a speed bump study for that block?
Not on
absolutely.
Boston Road.
Consider it.
On Holland Avenue. Holland Avenue. So I'll.
But it
No.
also sounds like there's like an enforcement issue that
Right.
has to happen as well. So I could also talk to the 49th and talk to see if they also work with the
I mean,
police.
I don't mean to burst your bubble, but it's enforcement's not going to happen. So.
Well, oftentimes I meet with the. Sorry to interrupt. Oftentimes I do meet with the commanding officers of all the precincts throughout the borough, and there is a sort of regular meeting that I have with the borough command and also the commanding officers. So it's often something that I can bring to their attention and ask for more enforcement.
But I'll email you a request for a study for that project.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Our next question is Sylvia Grandison. She's a PTA member of MS 135.
Hello. So my name is Sylvia, and I'm a parent of children who go to Bronx Green, MS 135, and I also president of the PTA. But tonight I'd like to relate an issue from the parent coordinator who couldn't make it. So it's very short, but if I could just let you hear what she has to say. She said, how can the crossing signs for the Wallace Avenue and Mace Avenue crosswalks be properly synchronized? That's Wallace and Mace. Mace Avenue seems to be much wider section to cross, yet the timer is less than that of Wallace Avenue crosswalk. Then she said, is it possible for the crosswalks to be freshly painted? Which I'll speak to Raphael. One more thing, students frequently cross diagonally in the Mace Avenue Boston Road intersection, How can we request an additional crossing guard to help ensure student-parent safety? And I can attest to that. It is very dangerous at Boston Road and Mace. You don't have enough time to cross, and at one point there's a walk sign, there's a stop sign all over, and no one knows when to cross.
So you need the
So you go
timing?
diagonal.
So the light needs to be made longer.
So the intersection of Mace and Boston Road is actually the phase 2 of our Boston Road safety improvement project. So right now we're only going up to Waring, sorry. So right now phase 1 is from Pelham Parkway north to Waring. Phase 2 will take us up to Allenton. So that intersection is something that we're looking at to figure out how we can design it to make it safer, to make the crossing distance shorter, to make the pedestrians more visible to drivers. With regards to more school crossing guards, that would be a question for the police department because the school crossing guards work for them.
Okay, but just one thing. There is one point at Mace and Boston Road when even while the crossing guard is there, which she does a lot, like 10 guards would do, you don't know when to cross because although the lights are red for the cars, it's also not time for anyone to walk. So there's a pause for like about a minute. So you can see people attempt it, plus there's a senior citizen home. So it's very dangerous. I've seen a few citizens.
So at that intersection, we've gotten a lot of requests throughout the years. I think years ago we got a request for a traffic island there. So I think we're trying to see what can be done there to create a safer crossing at that location for seniors.
Short-term fix. Can there be any signage put that informs pedestrians who don't? I know that intersection. I know you have to wait 2 minutes for the actual walk signal. Is there any signage that can be put that tells pedestrians this is a long light? Please wait.
Like a delayed green sign?
No, for pedestrians, signage in words that tell pedestrians this is a long light. Please cross carefully, something like that.
I mean, I could look. I mean, we don't. That's not necessarily in our inventory, but I could see what we can put there to serve the folks now.
One question.
No, it's not a question. I just want to tell them that at that intersection years ago, it used to be two-way on, was it Holland? What is it on the right? That used to be two-way, and I don't think they ever fixed the light to reflect that. I think it's still timed for a two-way street. That may be why it's still, you have that delay, because it may be still timed for a two-way instead of, since it's not a two-way anymore, it's a one-way going down the other way.
Holland isn't actually on the part of the traffic signal timing because there's only traffic flowing 2 ways on Mace and 2 ways in Boston Road.
Right,
Holland Avenue is you turn onto it from Boston Road or from Mace.
I mean, if
it used to be two ways, so you had traffic flowing both ways. They don't do that. They changed that years ago. But I'm saying you may want to check to see if the timing was never reflected for that change. That's all.
I mean, signal timing changes is something that can happen a lot sooner. So if you want to send me that request,
Connie Moran actually did a signal timing study about 1.5 years ago, and nothing.
I mean, we could take a look at it.
Actually, there was a couple more seconds added to the walk signal, but besides that, there wasn't much. Let me just go to the other people's questions. We go around the room. Harry?
At Pelham Parkway and Bronxwood Avenue, the local 12 bus stops, the red light is only like 10 seconds long. So you don't have time to cross the street. The red signal. So it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds. The senior citizen can't cross the street in 20 seconds. With a local 12 bus.
It's actually, it turns out to be Bronxwood/Muller.
And also, do you deal with street lights too or no?
Yes.
When are they going to change the street lights in the Bronx? They already did in Queens and Brooklyn, the new street lights.
So the LED upgrade is going to start in July.
In July.
Yeah, we're going to start a borough. What the gentleman's referring to is that we are upgrading every single street light in the Bronx to LED lighting. That's supposed to start in July, and it's going to take us approximately 6 months to cover the whole Bronx.
All right, well.
Right, so the contract for the Bronx starts in July.
And we have.
We're ahead of Staten Island and Manhattan.
Okay, Marcy, I'm going to get to that side. Brenda?
Yeah, I'm the crossing guard on Mace. You need a speed light or camera or something. It's very dangerous. They just pass the light when all the kids is crossing and it seems that they don't care. We need one very good.
It is a school.
So with traffic light, with a red light camera, is that what you're asking for?
135.
So right now we are trying to get the law changed in Albany that would allow us to have more cameras citywide. Right now the law limits us to 140 cameras throughout the city. We're only allowed to have them by the entrance of the school, and we're only allowed to operate them during school hours. So we're working on changing the law to expand the program, both the number and also the hours, to see if we can also have it on nights and weekends.
Sometimes I ask them to move back, they close me out, so sometimes I don't say anything.
Some of them get the kids are dodging calls. They get 24
But-
seconds, I think it is.
but a
to
camera's
cross
not
the
gonna-
entire floor, like to cross the whole way. So what they do is they go diagonal because they're trying to get to school.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, they have to go around the entire circle. They can't do it possibly, so they go diagonally.
Is that Mace and Boston?
Yeah, basically.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's why probably what we need is a redesign of that area. And what I mentioned earlier, part of the reason where possible we do those neck downs, where we sort of expand the sidewalk, it's to shorten the crossing distance, so that way the time you're given allows you to cross in one cycle.
Mark?
Hey, my name is Mark Mikowski, and I live in that complex that's on Astor Avenue. So for 7 years, I've been trying to get something done. I understand we're getting a light there. But you have another problem there where the cars zip out of the gasoline station, and instead of going down Astor, they want to go to Boston Road, and they make the turn. I can't tell how many times I've almost been rear-ended, torpedoed by them, not to mention when they come out and they make the turn going down, if there's somebody in there to avoid them, they've almost gone to the opposite lane of traffic. So no matter what you do, you're going to need some type of speed bump or something there to curb these people because they come out like maniacs. I used a speed gun. I got one guy going 65 miles an hour on the turn. Almost went right into the gate of my building, making the turn there from the gasoline station. And you need something from the gasoline station because they come zipping out of there.
So we are, Astor and Boston is one of the locations that we have in our study, so I can show you the exact change to the intersection we're making in addition to the light.
Oh, okay.
Okay, going around the room. Marcy, 1 second. Soapbox time.
It's not a soapbox. I'm starting at Highland Parkway North, going up Boston Road. So, one, there's 4 lanes there, 2 are for turning, 2 are for going straight. Very often, because it's so crowded because of the 25 mile per hour between Boston Road and Arthur Avenue, that 25 mile per hour zone, it gets so backed up since the shoulder was taken away and people are normally do 40. There's no crosswalk. There's no reason to slow it down. So we have an extreme backup. So people in the turning lane go straight. People in the going straight lane are turning. We need enforcement. And active enforcement, not like we had last year where they sat under the trees. So that's one. That's Boston and Pelham Parkway North. If you move the bus to the other side of past the light, that's Waits and Boston Road, there's an area for the bus to pull over. The road is widened there. There is no area because of the bump out under the L for people to cross. So that would, again, just super slow traffic by moving the bus stop. It's been in front of Gonzo's forever. And there's a widened area for it. Then you said about where White Plains and Boston Road meet. You want to put a light there where there's a stop sign now? Then you want to put a light a block and a half away at Astor and White Plains Road?
No.
And then you're proposing another light for the senior citizen center on Boston Road so they can cross. And then reconstruct an area on Boston Road and Mace. You're
It's too
creating
money.
traffic havoc.
Yep.
And then there's 2 stop signs under the L because of the grocery store. So I don't see where another traffic light from Thwaites and then White Plains Road and then Astor Road. It's just too much. Also, you mentioned that Boston Road South, turning onto Thwaites, you want to put a light there. Do you mean Pelham Parkway North in front of the I-Place? It's an unmarked street at that point, where people constantly block the intersection.
I think that's technically Thwaites.
No, that's Pelham Parkway North.
So no, we're looking at Boston Thwaites.
But Thwaites is coming out. You can't turn. from Boston Park, when you're going down Boston Road South.
I have the diagram here, so I could sort of, if anyone wants to gather.
Because then again, it will be a light at Thwaites, a light a block later, a light another block later. You're slowing down traffic, and it's an enforcement issue. It's enforcement. We need police. Maybe traffic agents should be able to give tickets. Maybe they could do that.
But they got to be there.
I drive, and a light, and a block later a light,
And another light.
A light creates increased aggravation in the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're going to have more people breaking the law. So you either enforce it before you ruin it, or you enforce it later.
Welcome, Commissioner. We've been having a problem with Bronx Park East. It's a wide street. There's never enough parking. That's another separate issue. We have a problem with speeding as people approach the streets that connect to Bronx Park East. So on Thwaites Place, for some reason or another, we've had a number of close calls. People are speeding, then they're turning. And I know Connie had put in the crosswalk, but they're not signaling, and then they're turning at a fast speed. We had maybe 3 years ago a situation. I live there. That's my house. We had a car slide on the snow and hit the gas main on the corner of the building. We asked Con Ed. They put some kind of a barrier there, but it's still, people are always coming out, and the park is there, so people are having a problem there. Is there any kind of way of having some kind of calming measures on Bronx Park East? I know that it's not. I know Connie explained something that you couldn't do speed bumps.
No.
But there has to be a way where all these cars speeding over, and they do it from both sides. They do it from north. They do it from south. There's always speeding onto that street. Thank you.
Okay, let Eduardo answer, please.
So, with regards to, Marcy, your question, again, I think I can sort of walk through the changes that we're proposing and explain why the lights are justified better with a visual representation than just explaining it, because I think often these changes, if you see the changes, you sort of understand what our reasoning is here. I believe I spoke to Ralph, I think, sometime last year about this. We had talked over the phone about traffic calming on a roadway diet. So, in some places, what we feel is that Bronx Park East is a very wide roadway. And when you have very wide roadways, it gives drivers, it's just very easy to speed. Before you realize it, you're well over 25. You're at 35, 40, 45. So what we talked about was looking at the entire corridor from the Parkway all the way to Alliston to see how we could design the roadway. To sort of potentially do some type of road diet, do some type of traffic calming that will speed it down and make it safe to cross.
And lower the property values. It's known as a 4-lane, tree-lined boulevard with co-ops and private houses. And if you make it visually confusing with the bright white lines, narrow it down, put barriers in the middle, it's ugly. And one of the reasons this area is so well liked is the beauty of it. And if you take away the beauty, you lower the property values of the owners in the neighborhood.
But another thing that potentially will lower property values is if you live on a street that's known to be dangerous because of speeding.
When's the last time someone was hit?
Excuse me? On where? Where are we talking about?
Bronx Park East. When's the last
And
time
wearing?
Yes.
Many times.
No.
They can't look
I get a call every 3 months about someone was hitting the bike. It doesn't make the news. It does. I don't even find out. We have to move on. Final question.
Hold on. So I think, because we get to your point about whenever we do a study, we always present the statistics from the prior 5 years in terms of serious injuries and fatalities on the corridor.
But a bike rider not following the rules is not, that shouldn't count.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a kid
Marcy.
crossing the street, someone
Marcy,
gets
we
50
have to.
miles per hour.
Okay.
But it's not fair.
Okay,
It's
we're not going to solve it today.
It's not fair.
Sorry, Marcy, I absolutely agree with you. Why is it that when I moved here 25 years ago, I lived on the south side, but I used to walk over here when I was expecting my son for the exercise. When he came into the world and would cry with colic all the time, I would walk all the way over here to Bronx Park East. to calm him down. I don't remember people driving so erratically. I don't understand what the difference is between 25 years ago and now. Why are people driving so much more erratically?
I know the reason why, but you don't want to hear it.
Let him answer, please. Thank you. We have to move on to our next guest.
I think that the difference really has to do with the amount, probably a lot more vehicles on the road now. And whenever any vehicle has the ability to sort of really zoom on an open road, they take that opportunity. Whereas, 25, 30 years ago, you had less traffic. I mean, I think part of the problem is that driving, because it's a lot easier to drive fast now. My father, years ago drove like a late 70s Impala. And when that car hit 40, you felt it. Now they drive a 2015 Impala. That car goes 60 and you don't feel it. So part of the speeding problem that's happened is that it's a lot easier for vehicles to just travel a lot faster, and you, the driver, don't even feel it. I mean, my car, I drive a Toyota Prius. I drive a version that's 10 years older than the one I drove a few years ago. It's night and day in terms of, when I drove a 2007 Prius, you felt the car vibrate, literally vibrate at 45. You don't feel it shake at all at 60 now. So I think that's part of the reason. There are a lot of other reasons why I think driving has gotten a lot more dangerous for drivers, for pedestrians. That's part of why with Vision Zero, I often remind people that the safety benefits just aren't for pedestrians and cyclists. They're also for drivers, because we notice that most of the crashes that still happen and most of the deaths that still happen are due to vehicular crashes. So if we bring the speeds down, we reduce the crashes for everybody, cyclists, pedestrians, and motorists.
Okay, we're going to have our last question before we get into our guest from the United States Postal Service. Just say your name, please.
It's Linda Suarez, and thank you for being here, Mr. Barrow. I did want to ask you, we had a request, I know this has been going on many, many times, locate for a stop sign located on Thwaites Place in Olinville, going eastbound. And it's been denied. And I'm just curious, why haven't we gotten, I know there's many accidents there, and it's a very bad blind spot according to the way it's come. It's in front of the bodega. So why haven't we gotten a stop sign?
So I think at that location, it just hasn't met the engineering criteria. I know that I got a request about that location again not too long ago from Assemblymember Jose Rivera's office, and what we told them is that we have to wait. We usually wait about 18 months before we reopen a study. So I told their office that once the period of time ended, we would reopen the study. But I've also, when we do, I'm also going to ask our planning unit, our pedestrian planning unit, to see what other improvements, what could be done there to sort of make that safer, because it's less of an issue of conflict and more of an issue of visibility, and maybe there's something else we can do to sort of make that safer.
So we have some families with children here who really want to ask our U.S. Postal Service guests some questions. So I do have to cut the Q&A short so they can get home at an opportune time for their families. So with the plans that you have, is there any way that copies can be made and distributed? Or?
So that presentation I printed out, for you, but again, that is available on our website. So I can email you the link, and you can.
So you're going to give me the paper.
nyc.gov/DOT.
If you want to see the plan, please wait till the end of the meeting. We could all take a look at the Boston Road. What's being done? Boston Road between
Pelham Parkway and Waring.
Pelham Parkway and Waring. All right.
Office will make copies of anyone that requests.
Senator
Ruth. Also I can email you the link and the actual PDF copy of the presentation, so that way you can distribute it electronically.
All right. So the PDF copy, I'll transfer it to JPEG and post it on our Instagram page as well as our Facebook page. If you're not on those social media pages, please look at the agenda. And the link is there, but we do need to get into our next guest. So thank you, Navarro, for coming and bringing us.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.